Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Prakrita Hoile Tomar Bapu Nari Upekshate Bhadra Vastu Gyan Nahika Prakrite. Prakrita hoile hatomar vapunare upekshate. Prakrita hoile hatomar Badra vastu gyan nahika prakrite. Prakrita hoile hatomar vapu Nari upekshate. Badra vastu gyana nahika prakrite. Prakrita hoile hatomar vapu nare upekshate. Badra vastu gyan nahika prakrite. Prakrita hoile hatomara vapu nari upekshite. Prakrita hoile hatomara vapu nari upekshite. Badra vastu gyan nahika prakrite.
Prakriti hoile hatomar vapunari upekshate. Badra vastu gyan nahika prakrite. Prakrita hoile hatomar vapunari upekshite. Prakrita hoile hatomar vapunari upekshite. Badra vastu gyan nahika prakrite.
Ladies. Bhadra Bhadra Vastu Jnanahika Prakrite.
Prakrita Hoileha Tomar Vapunari Upekshite.
Prakrita Hoileha Tomar Vapunari Upekshite.
Bhadra Bhadra Vastu Jnanahika Prakrite.
Bhadra Bhadra Vastu Jnanahika Prakrite.
Prakrita, material, Hoile, ha, even if it were, Tomar, your, Babu, body, Nadi, I cannot, Upekshate, neglect, Bhadra Abhadra, good and bad, Vastu Gyan, appreciation of things, Nahika, there is not, Prakrite, in the material world. Even if your body were material, I still could not neglect it, for the material body should be considered neither good nor bad. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami, since you are a Vaishnava, your body is spiritual, not material. Therefore, you should not consider this body to be subjected to superior or inferior qualities. Moreover, I am a sannyasi. Therefore, even if your body were material, a sannyasi should see no distinction between a good body and a bad body. Om Yanti Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manodishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swagadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Saranam Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Balaram Sadhana Vanita Sri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavadeshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpadrubhyascha Kripasindhubhyaevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Today we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita Anchalila, chapter 4, entitled Sanatana Goswami Visits the Lord. Text 174. I'm very grateful to be amongst all of you today. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming. Sanatana Goswami is our Sambandha Guru. He is specially empowered by the Lord to teach us by his words, by his example, how to establish a relationship with Krishna. The life of Sanatana Goswami, especially depicted in this particular chapter, is quite instructive. Because on the path of pure devotion, obstacles will come. If we could pick and choose our obstacles, they wouldn't really be obstacles. But when things come upon us in our lives that are just what we do not want, that's an obstacle. Of course, Queen Kunti, she prayed for those things. Vipadashantu tashashva tatra tatra jagat guru. That let these calamities come again and again. Because when there is difficulty coming in my life, I can no longer be complacent in my calling out for your help. Then it requires wholehearted seeking of shelter. Sanatana Goswami is a great personality. But it is the Lord's nature to teach the world through his most dear devotees. What were just a few of the obstacles Sanatana Goswami underwent in his sincere desire to serve the Lord? First of all, he and his brother, Rupa Goswami, and younger brother, Anupam, they were great devotees from their birth. They just wanted to render devotional service. But then this powerful, vicious king, the Nawab Hussein Shah, who hated devotees, who hated Hindus, who hated anything other than his own religion. He wanted to control and subjugate everyone. And the vast majority of his kingdom were what were called Hindus at that time. So he knew he needed top officials in his government of that religion who could gain the total respect of everyone. So he practically forced Rupa and Sanatana and their brother Anupam to take high-level official government positions. Now, many of you are devotees, and you know what management can do to you. It's really a burden. Yes, Gauri Prabhu. It's very difficult. Because as soon as you start to manage whatever you do, there will be friends and there will be enemies. No matter what. If you do it one way, some people will hate you. If you do it another way, other people will hate you. That's just the nature of management. What to speak of managing an entire kingdom? Right. Sanatana Goswami became prime minister. Rupa Goswami became something like the home minister. And if they didn't do it, then Alao Hussain Shah was going to just go on a radical endeavor to just persecute. So they took their roles, and they did it so well. They actually melted the heart of this Nawab Hussain Shah. He was so pleased with them. He treated them like his own brothers. He divided his kingdom. He gave them huge properties, fabulous wealth, like that of billionaires. He even gave them special names, Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik, which were considered honorary titles. But they hated it. This was an obstacle. They were trapped. They couldn't get out. Now, how many of you would consider a trap being a multi-billionaire? With a huge estate, beautiful palaces. Have any of you been to Ramakeli? That is the place where they were living. Their bathing places are still there. Rup Sagar and Sanatan Sagar. Each of their bathing places is big enough for about 10,000 people to bathe at a time. Hare Krishna. And they would just take their bath there. And they had a beautiful forest. They called it the Kadamba Kanana forest. It was replicas of Vrindavan. They had replica, they had a Madan Mohan temple, they had Radha Kund and Shama Kund and all of these beautiful places in Vrindavan. But still they had to do their government services. They wanted out, but they were trapped. They were writing to Lord Chaitanya regularly. What should we do? We are servants of a cruel, murderous person, and we don't know how to get out. They wrote him again and again and again. Lord Chaitanya was in Puri. But like many sannyasis, Lord Chaitanya did not return their letters. But finally, after repeated letters, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote one letter back. It was just one line. They're describing their whole problem. And they're begging for shelter. It's desperate. And he wrote one line. He said, if a woman loves someone other than her husband, she serves her husband very carefully. But in her heart, she's always thinking of her paramour. That was it. They understood exactly what it means. That we must just go on serving and wait for mercy. And the amazing thing is even their parents were performing pujas and yagyas and offering prayers to liberate their children from the dilemma they were in. It's a big obstacle. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood their hearts, even though he kept them in that situation for years. Not days or weeks or months, but year after year. And he personally came to Ramkeli just to meet them. He came with about 1 million people. And they were all doing Nam Sankirtan. Hare Krishna. Very famous kirtan pastime. And now Abu Sayyid Shah was there. And even he was transformed hearing about the transcendental love of Lord Chaitanya. In the middle of the night, Kabir Kas, Sakar Malik, and Anupam came to meet Lord Chaitanya. There's a tamal tree and a kadamba tree next to each other, representing Radha and Krishna. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Radha and Krishna have become one again in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there they surrender their lives, manifesting the sweetest, purest expression of humility, considering themselves to be the most fallen, the least deserving, but begging for mercy. If you think you're great, you cannot beg for mercy. And even if you do, it's just a formality. It cannot come from your heart. You have to really understand and realize that you're in a low condition, that you're desperate, before you could beg for mercy. And desperation is a great benediction. Our whole sampradaya is about desperation, actually. Srimad Bhagavatam was not spoken when King Parikshit just decided, I'm going to take a vacation for 7 days to go to Bhagavad Saptaha and get some highest credits. He was cursed to die in 7 days. That was his desperation. That's how he went to the bank of the Ganges to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Now when Krishna spoke to Arjuna, he didn't speak a word until Arjuna was in complete desperation. Yes? Arjuna is the greatest hero in the world. He was in so much desperation, seeing the imminence of a war where there's loved ones on both sides. He became pale white. His mouth was dry. Tears flowed from his eyes. His bow fell from his hand. He said, Krishna, I don't know who I am or what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. Save me. Then Krishna spoke Gita. Hare Krishna. Teaching the world through the devotees. We must feel a need. You cannot digest food unless you're hungry. Yes? Devotees know all about this. After the Govardhan Puja feast, if someone comes and brings you your favorite preparation, what will you do? You'll go, rah. I'll save it till later. Or I'll give it to somebody else. But if you're really hungry, then you really have the capacity to enjoy it and to digest it. So if we're proud, in America when somebody's proud, they say you're full of it. What that it is something in another subject. But when we're full of ourselves, what what help can we really receive? But to receive mercy, we have to beg for mercy. And to beg, there has to be a feel of need. And that is what humility is. Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they had huge estates. After the king, they were the two most powerful men in the entire country. They were young, they were handsome, they were learned scholars, they were physically strong, they were famous, they had everything. But they considered themselves lower than Jagai and Madhai. They considered themselves so fallen that for us to even ask for your mercy is like a dwarf reaching out to catch the moon with his hand. But still, we have no other alternative. That was the condition in which they approached the Lord. As you approach Krishna, Krishna reciprocates accordingly. And that means the state of consciousness in which we approach Krishna. Srila Prabhupada told us that we should chant the holy names like a baby crying for mother. Now, if the mother's busy, and Krishna's very busy, Krishna's the supreme busy person. But he reciprocates according to our consciousness. Now, if the mother's very busy and the child goes, then the mother will go, very nice, very nice. If the child goes, then the mother may say, okay, have this. If the child goes, then the mother will say, yes, take this, take this. But if the child goes, and the mother says, all right, I'm here, my beloved one, I'm all yours. So if we chant the holy names, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna's there, but he's not going to pay so much attention. But if we're really chanting in a mood that, Krishna, I need you. This is not just a formality. This is not just a ritual. I'm not just doing this because I still have a few more beads to pull down. I need you, Krishna. If we chant the holy names in that spirit, Krishna will full-fledged be there to protect us, to lift us, to give himself to us. That was the mood of Rupa and Sanatana. Mahaprabhu gave them at that time the names Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis. And then the Lord left. And they decided, after that, we're getting out of here. We have the blessing. And they hired some Brahmins to perform pujas to free them from their political implications. Hare Krishna. And Rupa Goswami with Anupam, they left. Took all his wealth and gave it away. Gave half of his wealth to Brahmins and Vaishnavas. Gave a quarter of his wealth in charity. Quarter of his wealth kept for personal emergencies for his family members. Quarter of his wealth was for family members and others for personal emergency. And he left. And then Sanatana Goswami, he couldn't leave just then. He was just too necessary. It's a long story, I'll make it very short. He called in sick and spent the whole day just discussing Srimad Bhagavatam with devotees. And now he was saying, "Oh, I need him. Why is he always sick? He wasn't sick like this before." So he sent the royal doctor, go to Sanatana Goswami. The royal doctor comes back and he tells the king, he's not sick, he's just reading Srimad Bhagavatam all day. So anyways, this calling in sick for work is bona fide. If it is for a higher purpose. Now a person came, he was furious. "I want to go out and conquer other lands. I need you to sustain the kingdom for me. What are you doing?" There you go. Very expert. See how he captured his mother. So Sanatana Goswami said, "I resign. You can do anything you want with me." So what did Nava Goswami and Shah do? He put Sanatana Goswami in prison. Here's a man who's willing to give up everything for Krishna. Krishna is the controller of all controllers. And what happens? He's put in jail. And it's not like a nice jail. This is an Indian jail. In fact, that jail cell is still there in Ramkeli. And it's a nice place to visit, but you wouldn't want to. How wonderful. He's willing to give up everything, power, wealth, fame, to serve the Lord. He just wants to be a humble servant. And what's the result? He's put in jail. Chained. With ball. He can't move. Rupa Goswami sent him somehow or other, sneakily got some money in for him. And then Sanatana Goswami had to try to bribe the jailkeeper with stacks of gold coins. He said, "I'll give you all this money, just let me free." The person said, "How could I let you free? What will happen to me?" He said, "Actually, you'll gain great pious credits because I'm going on a pilgrimage to Mecca. And if you help me, you will get so many blessings, so many blessings." So what will I tell the king? He said, "You tell him that I went to the river to pass, to respond to nature. And while I was there with my ball and my chain, I jumped in the river Ganga and I drowned. And you couldn't find me after that. That's all. And here's a few more 1,000 gold coins. You're such a saintly person. I know your heart." He said, "Yes, actually I am a good saint." "Of course. You want to go to Mecca? How could I not support you? Give me those coins and I'll let him free." So now the great Sanatana Goswami is a fugitive. The path of bhakti is not all easy. What do they say? Life is not always a road of roses. He was trying to get to Vrindavan to meet Lord Chaitanya. Going through jungles, because you couldn't go on a main road. In the robes of a prisoner. And he came to one hilly station, most dangerous of all places, even today. Dacoits, robbers, pirates. So he went to an inn, and the innkeeper, as soon as he saw him, his astrologer said, "This man has some gold coins." So the innkeeper decided, "I will murder him and take his money." But he treated Sanatana Goswami really nice. And Sanatana Goswami said, "Why is he treating me so nice?" He's thinking, "It must be because my servant has some gold coins and he wants to kill me. Otherwise, why would he treat me so nicely?" Hare Krishna. So he asked Ishan, did you bring any money? He said, "Yes, I did." He said, "Give it to me." And he went and gave it to the innkeeper the next morning. He said, "Why are you giving it?" He said, "I was going to kill you for this, but now you're giving it to me. I can't believe how honest you are. You can keep it and go." Sanatana Goswami said, "If you don't kill me, somebody else will kill me. So you take it." So he took him through the hilly track, very, very difficult place. Then he asked Ishan, "Do you have any more money?" Ishan said, "I have one more gold coin." Sanatana Goswami said, "Use it to go home." And he was on his own. And he went all the way to Vrindavan. And what did he find when he was there? Well, actually, on his way to Vrindavan, he was in Varanasi. And there he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All of his austerities culminated where for 2 months on the bank of the river Ganges, he received teachings from Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, "Go to Vrindavan. And later on, come to Puri to meet me." So after visiting Vrindavan, he was so eager to see Lord Chaitanya, he walked to Jagannath Puri. It's a long way. On the way, he was going through the Jarikanda forest, and he drank some water that was contaminated and got a disease, a horrible disease. His entire body just burst out with itching sores and rashes. Terrible itching. And they were infectious. There was blood and pus coming out of them. And there was nothing he could do about it. Hare Krishna. He was walking through the forest like that. Miserable situation, physically. And abominable. He was thinking, my life is totally useless for service. So when I get to Puri, I'll give up this body. What is the use of such a body? What can I do? So contaminated. So he was thinking, what's the best way to give up my body? And he came to an amazing discovery. During Ratha Yatra, when Lord Chaitanya and all his devotees are loudly chanting the holy names in the presence of the Lord, in the presence of Jagannath, Lord Chaitanya, all the Vaishnavas, the holy name, I will throw this body under the wheel of Jagannath's chariot. And then, maybe, in my next life, I will get a better birth. Hare Krishna. So he was really happy with this decision. And he arrives in Puri. He goes to Haridas Thakur Siddha Bakula, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's in Jagannath's temple. When Haridas Thakur sees Sanatana Goswami, he's so happy. First thing Sanatana Goswami asks is, where is Lord Chaitanya? Haridas said he usually comes here every day at this time. At that moment, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. And what did he do? He reached out to embrace Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami fell to the ground to offer his prostrated obeisances. Lord Chaitanya picked him up, and Sanatana Goswami tried to run away. But Lord Chaitanya's arms, they're very long. They extend below his knees. So he reached out and he grabbed Sanatana, who was trying to escape, and pulled him right in and squeezed him right to his own chest. And as he squeezed his body, it just, all this pus and blood just covered Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's beautiful golden form. Sanatana Goswami was simultaneously so grateful to be in the Lord's company, but he felt so abominable. Look what I've done to the Lord. Every day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come to visit Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur. And every day the Lord would forcibly embrace him. And his body was decorated with pus and blood. Hare Krishna. Very beautiful, actually. One day, just before Radha Yatra, Lord Chaitanya says to Sanatana Goswami, "You have given your body to me? You've already surrendered your body to me? Your body is the property of Krishna. You have no right to destroy another man's property. It is sinful." Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, suicide is sinful. It's an abomination. It is God's property. You have no right to destroy another man's property. Give up this idea. Very strong. And Sanatana Goswami was thinking silently in his heart, my Lord does not approve of my plan. Now Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the controller of all controllers. Dhanvantari, the great avatar who was the founder of Ayurveda, he's just a partial expansion of Lord Chaitanya. The Lord could have cured him. Yes. We read about different saints who just, cure people of their diseases. Where do they get their power from? From God. But Lord Chaitanya just allowed those infectious, itching rashes to get worse and worse. Months passed. And Sanatana Goswami was just in that condition. Now some of you may be thinking, what is this Krishna consciousness all about? It's about the highest pleasure of ecstatic love. But the fact is, whether you're a devotee or not a devotee, problems are going to come in your life. Obstacles must come. The purpose of real religion is to transcend this material world. Sometimes we think that if I'm a devotee, my material life should be really nice. Because after all, Krishna is the Lord, and I'm chanting, and I'm following regulative principles, and I'm nice. Why is this happening to me? Why these people don't understand me properly? Why people are attacking me? Why my body is in this condition? Why the weather is not according to my liking. So many things may happen. Krishna tells us at the very Dukhalayam Shashvatam. The material world is a place where there is suffering, no matter who you are. It's not that you jump in the ocean and think I won't get wet. The ocean is wet. The material world is a place where everything is temporary. Because temporary nature, you have to suffer. It's just the way the place is. Of course, devotees try to create as nice an atmosphere as possible to practice devotional service, but despite our efforts, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravatanaja. Krishna says from the highest planet in this material world down to the lowest, they're all places where suffering is there. So don't think that if you're not a devotee, you won't suffer. You have to suffer. Birth, old age, disease, and death. And don't think that if you are a devotee, you won't suffer. No matter what you are, you have to suffer. Hare Krishna. Maybe you're not suffering now, but just wait and see. Just the power of time just disintegrates everything. Real happiness is when we transcend the dualities of material nature. Pleasure, pain, honor, dishonor. Happiness, distress, success, failure, health, disease. These are dualities. You can't have one without the other. They're integrated. But when we transcend these dualities, then there's real happiness. And how do we transcend these dualities? By realizing the substance of happiness of the soul in relation to God. Because that is beyond the purview of material existence. Kamala Dalabza, Jivanatalama, Bhajahun Hari Bhavayative. In that beautiful poem Prabhupada sang, Govindadas is saying, my whole life, so much problem. I've given everything, and now what's left? So much frustration. But when you take shelter of Krishna, there's real happiness. Whatever pleasure we have in this world, which we become so attached to, its nature is like a drop of water on a lotus flower, a lotus leaf. Recently there was a marriage of one wonderful Guru Kuli, Madan Mohan. You know him as Muddy. Yes, he was married in California, in a lotus garden. And there was hundreds of lotuses in this beautiful lake. And while the marriage was going on, I was also checking out these lotus leaves to see what it's all about, everything in this world. And you just throw water on the lotus leaf, and it just slides right off, and there's not a trace that it ever even existed. That is the nature of everything in this world. Our family relationships, all of our pleasures, our wealth, our health, everything. Like a lotus drop on a leaf, like a drop of water. It's there and it's gone. Happiness is when we find permanent refuge, permanent joy. And that must be from within our own hearts. when the soul is reconnected with God. Religion comes from the word religio, which means to bind back, to bind the soul back to its relationship with God. Yoga means to reunite. Yoga means to reconnect the soul with God, with Krishna. As long as we're disconnected and we're trying to find pleasure, we're trying to find relief through this temporary phenomena, and that's the cause of all suffering. Queen Kunti, she prayed, suffering is very good because it keeps me always remembering you, Krishna. Now, I don't advise that you pray for that. Because whether you do or not, it's going to come. Just pray, Krishna, in any circumstance, let me be yours. Let me remember you. Let me take shelter of you. So yes, when difficulties come, we shouldn't think, why is Krishna doing this to me? We should understand material nature does it to everyone. But Krishna's given me a way above this, a way out. Krishna's given me a divine connection to transcend. Bhaktivedanta Thakur prayed, Krishna, the sufferings I endure in serving you are my greatest pleasure. Bhakti is about finding our pleasure in what we're doing for Krishna, not in what's happening to me. That's spiritual pleasure. So yes, months went by, and here is Sanatana Goswami. He's given up his billions of dollars. He's given up, I guess, rupees. He's given up power. He's given up fame. He's given up everything. He's living under trees. He's wearing just a simple kopan. He's begging for some food. And he's doing it all for Krishna. And now he's got these rashes from head to toe. And they're not going away. And there's no relief. And months are going by. You think that's all? Lord Chaitanya calls Sanatana Goswami for lunch one day. But he calls him at noon, and it's the summertime. Have any of you ever walked on the seaside of Jagannath Puri in the month of May without shoes? Well, if you have, you'll have some understanding. The sand was like blazing fire. Hare Krishna. Now, Sanatana Goswami could have gotten to the Yamala Gardens, where Lord Chaitanya called him, by just going around the Singhadwaram, the front gate of Jagannath's temple, and in its nice, cool, shady path. But instead, he went along the sand of the beach. And by the time he arrived, his feet were just blistered and red from being scorched by the hot coals of the sand. And when he arrived, Lord Chaitanya already went to sleep. There you go. And Lord Chaitanya had Govinda give him prasad, and he took prasad. And after some time, Lord Chaitanya came out, and he looked at Sanatana's feet and said, why did you come by the beach? Why didn't you come the other way? Sanatana. But he hardly even felt the pain, because he was so much anticipating meeting the Lord. That inner enthusiasm to serve. took great prominence over the physical condition. Months went by, again, and every day Lord Chaitanya was embracing him. And finally, Sanatana Goswami approached Jagadananda Pandit. And he said, I don't know what to do. I came to Puri for my purification, and I'm getting just the opposite. I'm doing nothing but offenses. Jagadananda said, what offenses are you talking? He said, every day the Lord forcibly embraces me, and his beautiful divine body is smeared with my blood and my pus and my infections. It's horrible. I can't tolerate it. Should I continue? Thank you. I know breakfast is coming up soon, so Jagadananda Pandit said, well, the Lord already told you he wants you to go to Vrindavan. So why don't you just go to Vrindavan right away? Sanatana Goswami said, very good. That's the solution. I will leave for Vrindavan. So the next day, Lord Chaitanya comes and reaches out to embrace Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami tries to run away, but the Lord catches him. And finally, Sanatana Goswami says, I had a nice talk with Jagadananda, and he's given me good advice. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, oh, what is that? He told me I should go to Vrindavan right away. Lord Chaitanya said, what? Who is this impotent neophyte, Jaga, who's instructing you? You are fit to be my guru. You are senior, you are older, you are wise, you are realized. And this boy is instructing you? I cannot tolerate it. Sanatana Goswami became very sad. We would probably be very happy if we heard that. This is his humility. He said, I understand that Jagadananda is a very fortunate, intimate associate of yours, that you're chastising him so sweetly. But I am so unfortunate. I'm just like an outsider that you're praising. And Lord Chaitanya became ashamed. He said, no, it's not like that. No one is more dear to me than you. But I cannot tolerate the transgression of etiquette. This is an important principle. Sometimes in the name of our devotional service, in the name of our passion to perform whatever we're doing, or sometimes we think because I'm from the West or living in the West, what is all this etiquette stuff? Yes. But please, take it seriously. It's the Lord's words. I cannot tolerate transgressions of etiquette. And what is etiquette about? It's primarily centered around respect to others. That is etiquette. How to respect people. How to give honor to people according to their particular position. Seniors we respect in a certain way. Equals we respect in a certain way. People who are junior to us we respect in a certain way. But this offering of respect is culture. How to speak, how to behave. Lord Chaitanya told Sanatana Goswami in one place, the observance of Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament that makes a devotee beautiful in the eyes of Krishna. and transgression of etiquette is intolerable to the Lord. How we treat each other, the types of relationships we create with each other. It is not a detail on the path of bhakti. It is a primary, essential principle for our spiritual advancement. We can't run or hide from it. We're told that 99% of our spiritual advancement comes from our chanting of the holy names. So why should I worry about all these other things? But it's not just chanting, it's how you chant. The first offense against the holy name is to mistreat devotees. Yes? Vaishnav Seva. Compassion for the common souls and the holy names. These are primary for our spiritual progress. So yes, in any spiritual community, in Krishna consciousness, learning how to develop healthy, proper, respectful relationships is crucial, individually and collectively, for our spiritual sustenance. Why? Because it attracts the mercy of the Lord. When you treat people properly, you attract the Lord's mercy. When you treat people properly in a spirit of servitude rather than manipulation, exploitation, or selfishness, then Krishna is pleased to actually manifest himself in his holy names. That beautiful quote that I cited last time I was here of Srila Prabhupada is very, very appropriate to this subject today. Where Srila Prabhupada quotes Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and says, unless one is meek and humble, even if one chants his prescribed rounds of Mahamantra, birth after birth after birth after birth, that person will not see Krishna. That person cannot realize Krishna. Yes, we must chant, but unless we're meek and humble, unless we observe proper etiquette, unless we learn how to deal with people with proper relationships, our chanting will have minimal effect. But if we do these things properly, carefully, from our hearts, then very quickly Krishna's name will deliver us and awaken love of God from within. That is all important. Recently I was with one of the senior most devotees in our society. And she told me, here in London, back in the 60s, she told Prabhupada that when you're here, everything's so nice. But Prabhupada, you don't know, after you leave, how devotees treat each other. So much harshness, so much inconsideration, so much just ego struggles. Prabhupada said you show your love by how you cooperate. Cooperation that Prabhupada's talking about, minimally, is we tolerate each other. But in bhakti, real cooperation means a very positive, respectful service attitude of learning to encourage and appreciate. Vaishnava etiquette is about appreciation and encouragement. And if a person's down, not kicking them lower, but lifting them up. And if a person's up, reaching out to get their help. So yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he screamed against Jagadananda because he transgressed etiquette. He's giving instruction to you, cannot tolerate this. He's just an impudent boy, and you are such a stately, advanced senior Goswami. Hare Krishna. And this brings us to today's verse. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatana Goswami that, why are you so disturbed that I'm embracing you? Sanatana Goswami said, my Lord, look at what's happening every time. I can't face this. I can't see this. My blood on your body. And Lord Chaitanya is giving such nice preaching here. He's saying that actually, because I have affection for you, therefore, I'm very pleased to get these remnants on me. And then he gives different angles of his vision. He said, the body is just a material thing. It's neither good or bad. It's just as it is. So why should we discriminate good, bad, good, bad, good, bad? You know, good and bad is very much, on the material platform, is very relative. It's like Prabhupada uses the example that if you give a hog nice, hot, fluffy halava, steaming, that fragrance, you all smell halava, just that fluffy halava where every grain is like a little cloud. It's so moist, with plenty of butter from Gokulananda's cows, so sweet, with raisins that are like little balloons. And they may have even put some saffron in it. So Prabhupada says, you give a hog halava, and the hog will protest. No, give me stool. Now, if someone gave you stool, you would say, give me halava. Yes? So things are very relative. You could write volumes of books to try to prove that halava is better than stool. But you'll never convince a hog. So really, what is good and what is bad in this world? We walk down the street in London and we go by a restaurant where there's burning flesh and people smell it and go, you know, how much money do we have? Let's go in, let's go in. They just like, they're just drawn, they're dragged in by this fragrance to go in and spend their money to eat that stuff. Yes? And a devotee like, it's abominable, they're gagging and running. So this is the nature of dualities. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving this nice principle. That really on the material platform, what's good and what's bad. And he says, I'm a sannyasi. Sannyasis are not supposed to be attached to either good or bad on the material platform. We're supposed to see everything equally. So if I were to think that your so-called smelling, abominable stench like pus is bad, then I violate my role and my duty as a sannyasi. Hare Krishna. That's one argument. And the next argument is because of my affection for you. I smell it like nectar. Because things are very much about it's about the heart. It's not about the senses. You perceive things according to your heart. Yes? We see Radha Gokulananda, and many of you, you just want to cry. Somebody else comes in and sees, and they just think. I remember I was a pujari once, and when I looked at the deities, it was just the only thing I lived for. And I remember my father came to visit me. And he came in, I was offering arti. And he said to me, son, what do you do all day? I was way up in this mountain of mud. He had to take an ox cart to get up there. He said, what do you do all day? I said, I worship these deities. And I was looking at those deities thinking, God, he's going to be so impressed. I was kind of a new devotee. I was thinking, he's going to see these deities, he's just going to surrender. I said, I'm worshiping these deities, and I dressed the deities. I thought they were so nicely dressed that day. Krishna had this peacock feather so nicely on, and Radharani was very nicely dressed with special garlands. And my father looked and said, you mean after all the money I spent? All I've done to raise you all my life? He said, this is what you do all day? You play with dolls? I said, they're not dolls, they're deities. So we see, according to our heart, if you love someone, it's like Prabhupada gives an example, that if a mother loves her child, and her child is blind, the mother will call him Padmalochan, lotus-eyed. Now, nobody else will call him Padmalochan. But the mother will call. Because of affection. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gives a very internal realization. He said, when a mother really loves her baby, and when she's taking care of the baby passes urine and stool on the mother. The mother smells nectar, like sandalwood oil. Hare Krishna. Now, I'm sure every one of you mothers have that realization. But for the rest of us, it's not like sandalwood. Because we just don't have that affection. So Mahaprabhu said, Sanatana Goswami, when your pusses and bloods come on my body, I smell chatushmata. Do you know what chatushmata is? It's an ingredient that is described in the Garuda Purana of one of the most fragrant offerings to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is a combination of sandalwood pulp, camphor, musk, aguru, saffron. It's irresistible. It's ambrosial. It's nectar. Lord Chaitanya said, this is what I smell because you are like my own child. That is my love. And then he reached those long arms out to embrace Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami, again, like every other day, he tried to run away. But the Lord caught him and squeezed him. But this time, as he squeezed him, all the diseases disappeared. Sanatana Goswami's body was effulgent, golden complexion, absolutely cured. And Haridas Thakur watched and just called out, my Lord, this is your pastime. It was you that originally gave him that disease in the jungle. And it was you that kept that disease going all these months and months and months. And it's now your will, your pastime, that you have cured it miraculously. Why? The Lord has a deep, integral purpose for everything. When we want to pursue the path of devotional service, we must learn to be tolerant. The appearance and disappearance of the winter and summer seasons. One must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. In the execution of our devotional service, the different dualities that come upon us, we have to tolerate praise without becoming proud. We have to tolerate blame without being discouraged. We have to tolerate success without becoming lethargic. We have to tolerate failure without becoming despondent. We have to tolerate happiness without just becoming in the mood of an enjoyer. And we must tolerate sorrow without allowing it to come between us and our service to the Lord. This is Krishna consciousness. Our focus is on pleasing Krishna, pleasing Guru, pleasing Vaishnavas. This is integrity, to maintain our ideals, to maintain our standard, to maintain our relationships, despite whatever may come. And this, in a very, very graphic way, is being taught to the world through Sanatana Goswami, our Sambandha Guru. If we want to develop a real relationship with the Lord, we must be willing to remain faithful under all circumstances. And in that faithfulness comes an inner peace and an inner joy that is unlimitedly greater than any amount of physical or mental gratification. Because in that faithfulness, we experience the all-attractive reservoir of all pleasure, Krishna as we chant his holy names.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Then Lord Chaitanya told Sanatana Goswami, you should go to Vrindavan, join with your brother Rupa Goswami. And he gave him several missions. He wanted him to write books. Sanatana and Rupa Goswami brought a large library of Vedas to Vrindavan with them, and they extracted the essence from all of them. Pure, unalloyed devotion, bhakti. And the ultimate culmination of bhakti is prema. And the ultimate culmination of prema is the love of the gopis in Vrindavan. And the ultimate culmination of gopi prema is Radha's love for Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give that. And they also searched through the dense forests of Braj Bhumi and rediscovered the holy places where Radha and Krishna and their associates performed their pastimes, and excavated those to make it a place of pilgrimage for us. And they also established temples, Radha Govinda temple, Radha Madan Mohan temple, and deity worship proper as educational institutions for spiritual inspiration. And by their own examples, they taught the perfect etiquette, the perfect lifestyle of a Vaishnava, especially for one in the renounced order. So these were the instructions that Sanatana and Rupa Goswami were given by Lord Chaitanya. And Sanatana Goswami lived the rest of his days in this world in Vrindavan Dham, traveling from place to place. And he was so kind. Although such a great scholar, the author of such amazing literatures, establishing the most original beautiful temple of Madan Mohan, still, he was so personal with everyone. He would just travel from village to village. And everyone loved him because he loved everyone. It was remarkable. He cared about everyone. He would go to a village. Did your daughter get married yet? How was your crops growing this year? How was your health? He would just have such... Everyone just felt Sanatana Goswami cares about me so much. He cares about my family so much. They loved him. And therefore, when he would speak Hari Katha, their hearts were open. This is preaching. That is how Prabhupada established the Hare Krishna movement in the West. He cared about people so much. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was with Janaki, the first female disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And she was telling for over an hour just stories of Prabhupada, how he dealt with them. He was a father, he was a friend, they just opened their hearts because they trusted him, they loved him. And whatever he spoke just went to the core. If you can get a person to open your heart, then when you speak about Krishna, it goes to the core of their heart. If you don't develop that trust, if they don't have that trust or love for you, then the knowledge just goes into the brain. It rarely gets to the heart. And that's what Prabhupada did. He was cooking for people. He just cared. And yes, people opened their hearts. That was Sanatana Goswami. Wherever he went, people just loved him, and therefore they all became his disciples. He became the primary guru for the whole Braj Bhumi. Even Lord Shiva couldn't give up his association. When he was living at Manasiganga near Govardhan, Sanatana Goswami was writing, and he was trying to write, but at night, so many mosquitoes were harassing him. Again, why mosquitoes were getting Sanatana Goswami? To show us why Prabhupada had heart attacks, why Prabhupada had seasickness, why Prabhupada had people attacking to kill him. Hare Krishna. It's beautiful to teach us how to be happy in all situations by keeping our mind fixed in Krishna. You see, if the ocean is very, very rough, if your anchor is properly situated, you'll weather the storm. Otherwise, you'll just be, you may sink or you may just go out into nowhere. So if we keep our anchor connected to Krishna through our sadhana, through our hearing, reading Prabhupada's books, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, chanting the holy names sincerely, associating with devotees in a proper way, then we're anchored, we're connected to Krishna. Let any storm come and we'll be firm. But if we don't have good sadhana, good association, then we're like a ship without an anchor. And this sea of material existence, sometimes it's a nice day, but the storms will come. Hare Krishna. If it's a nice day today, know storms are coming. And if it's stormy, know nice days are coming. Either way, keep that anchor firm. Very important. So mosquitoes were biting him, and he was thinking, I can't do my service here, so I will leave tomorrow. He was right next to Chakaleshwar Mahadev, very famous deity of Lord Shiva, installed by Krishna's great-grandson, Bhadra. So Mahadev disguised himself as a Brahmin. He could not tolerate Sanatana Goswami leaving. He just loved him so much. And this Brahmin said, please stay one more night. Please stay one more night. I think the mosquitoes won't get you tonight. Just stay one more night. Give it a try. And then Shankar called for the demigod in charge of mosquitoes. And said, let them be anywhere, but not here. And that night, you've seen mosquitoes. God, I remember when I was 1971, I lived on the bank of the Ganges in Patna. And I was living with some sadhus, and there were so many mosquitoes. Prabhupada called them mosquitoes. And they were big, and they were hungry. And I tried to sleep. We were sleeping on rocks. The rocks were nice, but these mosquitoes were like, they were biting me at every moment. And not only, I tried to cover myself with a little chadar, and all around me I was hearing bzzz. Some of them were like zzz, and others zzz. I don't know which was the male or female, but they were all getting it. And then it's monsoon season, and malaria is there, and then they were just biting right through the chatter. And then these two sadhus, they were laying on the same rocks. And the mosquitoes, their bodies were both covered with mosquitoes. And the mosquitoes were just sucking. It's the mosquitoes just getting all big with blood, just overeating. And they were just like, they slept through it all. They were totally indifferent. They were just sleeping. And I was walking around, and I was realizing, God, I'm really on the bodily concept of life. These people are transcendental. Either they're totally transcendental or they've smoked so many chillings of hashish. Sometimes sadhus do like that also. So Sanatana Goswami that night, no mosquitoes. And they never came back. That is how much, from Lord Shiva down to the little Brijabasi little girl who's just carrying the cow dung on her head, they loved him. And when he departed from this world, the entire Braj Bhumi, hundreds and thousands of people came to Govardhan to offer their honor and respect to him, because he was their guru. And because every day he did the parikrama of Sri Giriraj, in honor of him, on that day, hundreds and thousands of Brijabasis did the parikrama of Govardhan. To this day, it has been a tradition for the past 450 years. The day of the largest amount of devotees, Brijabasis, doing Govardhan parikrama is on Guru Purnima, the disappearance day of Sanatana Goswami. More than Govardhan Puja, more than Kartik Purnima. Entire villages, they're all coming all day and all night doing parikrama. And the tradition originated in honor of Sanatana Goswami. Because he is their guru. And he is our guru. Through Srila Prabhupada, we have accessed the complete mercy and association of all of these great acharyas, if we just open our hearts to receive his mercy. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. But to receive his mercy means to remain faithful in the good times and the bad times, when it's easy, when it's difficult. And that integrity will bring real happiness, because that integrity will give us the experience of Krishna. Thank you very much.
Radhanath Swami Maharaj ki
Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. I think it's time for the class to end. Very well.